Alright, so if you've got a Pulse and a smartphone and you're scrolling through TikTok, you've probably seen a video like this before, where it's got flashy text along the bottom, it's explaining something to the viewer, maybe there's an emoji or two next to it. You know the type of video I'm talking about. It is a very popular style of editing right now and a very in-demand style of editing right now. It's actually very easy to do. I'm going to show you how. Let's jump into it. Okay, so here we are in Premiere Pro. First thing you're going to do is you're going to want to set your sequence for TikTok. Now you go up here, new sequence, and we are going to set this, call it TikTok. There's no space in there. And we're going to set this to a vertical format. So instead of it being 1920 by 1080, it's going to be 1080 by 1920. Great. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to drag our clip to the timeline, and we're going to want to keep existing settings, because if it's a horizontal clip that you filmed, you're going to want to make sure it stays horizontal, right? So we're going to do that. Now, once you've got your clip on the timeline there, you're going to go and find exactly where you want the clip to start. In this case, I kind of already know. Make our cuts. And from there, we're ready to roll. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to size this properly. So obviously zoom in. Now, when it comes to TikTok, there's a very important thing before you put any text on your timeline. And that is overlaying a PNG. This is one I just kind of found on the internet. And I'll leave a download link in the bio below, or you can just Google TikTok safe area, text safe area PNG, because TikTok, its UI is actually very crowded, right? So using a PNG like this throughout your editing process will make it very easy to make sure that all your text is on screen, it's not being obscured by any of the UI or anything like that. So now we've got our overlay on top, and we can just adjust the scene here a little bit, center me up a little more, something like that, turn off our PNG later. Perfect. Now, next thing we're going to want to do is generate our subtitles. That's why we're here, right? We want to see the subtitles on the screen. In order to do that, it's very easy. You're going to just go up here to Captions and Transcribe Sequence. Adobe recently added this in, and frankly, it's a godsend, because the old way you would have had to do this is meticulously go create a new text layer, wait for it to generate, wait to make sure that the timestamp is correct, change the color, make sure the size is ready. Is it not quite when you're saying it? It was very hard to do. Adobe, this is like the best thing Adobe has done in, I'd say, the last 10 years when it comes to Premiere. Great, so now we're here, and it didn't quite catch the translation. Obviously, TikToks is spelled incorrectly, so what we're gonna wanna do is just go up here and change it. Beautiful. We're gonna want to create those captions. I like doing it single just to make sure that it's broken up evenly. Leave all of this pretty much default here. Create your captions. Great, so now you've got your captions generated. You see them on the timeline here. If you scrub through, you've got what you're saying. And even though you had to make a couple edits, it wasn't that bad. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to want to format the font and the placing. So this is great to do all at once because it saves you time on the back end, unless you're changing individual fonts and stuff like that. But for the most part, what you're going to want to do is just drag this up here for your X and Y axis, scoot that over, increase the size to about that. And again, this is why this overlay is very helpful, because you want your text to stay off of the gray. The gray is where there's UI, and it accounts for punch in as well. Next thing we're going to do, change the font. I'm not really a big fan of this one. Let's change it to this one, a little more bold, a little more striking, right? Next thing we're going to want to do is add a stroke. Very easy. Just check the stroke box, make sure your stuff is highlighted, pick a color. In this case, we're going to go black. And while making sure everything is still highlighted, you're just going to increase the width of the stroke to about there. I know if you see some of the videos on TikTok currently, it's a little bit bigger, but you kind of still want to make it legible, right? So we're going to want to break this up. And how to do that is just simply scrub through where you want the text to be broken up. So let's do the key to making the key, and that'll be its own clip. So let's zoom into the timeline here, Command K, and what that'll do is it'll cut the subtitle, but it'll also duplicate it, so you don't lose any of the words or anything like that, right? So the key, and we could just go in here, delete that, And now we can increase the size of the key itself. So let's make this bigger. Perfect. About there. Scoot it down. And now we can start highlighting words. So we can highlight the key, go over here to green. That's what we want obviously the viewer to focus on. So the key, great. And now if we punch through, we've got the key to making. And now because we used the key in the last frame, we can delete that. To making great. And obviously in this one, we're going to want great to be highlighted green as well. Pick a nice green, something that's punchy, something that catches the eye. And you can actually even adjust the size of individual words. So in this case, I want great to be bigger than the rest. Go back, scrub through. So the key to making great. And then here, let's make TikToks its own frame. Again, cut that, delete what you don't want, add an S there because it's TikToks. And we're going to want to make this very big and very bright. I might even make this yellow. Again, that kind of pattern interrupt for the viewer. It's great to change things up, keeps everybody engaged, keeps everybody watching. Make that nice and big, to about there, awesome. All right, so now that you've got all that sorted out and you scrub through, you'll see that all your text changes different colors, it changes sizes, and it gets the point across. It's engaging. There's every few seconds, something different happens, something new pops on the screen. It keeps the viewer invested in what they're watching, especially with super short form content like this. Viewer retention is more important than I would say even here on YouTube because you have less time to capture someone's attention and get your point across. From here, what you could also do if you really wanted to get fun and fancy is you could scroll over and start looking at some emojis, right? So here we've got a great way to make TikTok, the key. So we can do key emoji. And usually there's a PNG file someplace, right? So we can download that. Drag that onto the timeline here above where it says key. Size this up, make sure it's all good to go. And again, keeping that overlay on top to make sure everything stays within the bounds. So we'll make our key a little smaller. We'll scoot it over here. Go down like so, go up like this. Great, cool. And now the key, and I can even scoot this over so when I say key, boom, things are constantly popping up on screen and it keeps people invested. Like I said at the top of the video, this is a very in-demand style of editing right now, and it's also very easy to do. A lot of businesses, a lot of brands are looking for people to make TikToks in this style. So if you're someone who creates content, this might be a great service to offer to your clients. Hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. My name is Bobby Kowecki, and I'll see you next time.